It's common sense that when you're interviewed with a colleague, you take turns in a civilized manner. But not for our forever glorious Duchess of Sussex, who had a silent meltdown right in front of Larry King. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and it will be great if you join us by just liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that bell. Let's get down to it. Now, you have seen me extract whole stories from just 9 seconds of Harry and Meghan's videos. So you can imagine how much content you can get from almost half an hour with Larry King. And this interview is a goldmine of body language just for moments like this.
Everything that people need at the firm. She also happens to be the love interest to Mike Ross, and
she's the woman behind the man. Every time Mike needs anything to happen, she's the one that actually...
Okay, there's a little frustration in there with that jaw tension, looking away and pursing her lips. Notice that she also clenches her jaw when she looks away. And this happens less than 3 minutes into the interview, so it's not like she was tired or bored. Maybe it's the fact that Patrick J. Adams said the words, "She's the woman behind the man," and you might think that this line did not go well with Rachel. But this kind of displays also happen when Meghan is giving her 2 cents.
someone, or they want to know someone like they see on that show. So I think that's what brings people back, and then the New York of it all is pretty enticing.
There are a couple signals here. There's a bit of arrogance, but there's nothing wrong with a little arrogance and bravado here and there. And she's a Leo, so it might come natural to her. But most important is that lip pressing at the end. When you're talking to someone and you see 1 or 2 of these kind of signals, if they do not make more than 5 or 10% of the conversation, then I suggest that you pay attention to other, more obvious signals that could be body posture or their hand gestures or the word that they use. But there's also the fact that people could get nervous and begin twitching their eyebrows or pressing their lips just to release stress. But Meghan is an actress, and she not only gets paid to command the muscles of her face, well, she used to get paid to command the muscles of her face. Now she just gets paid to command Harry. My point is that she being an actress, it's much less likely for her to get nervous in this kind of settings, and at the same time she's more aware of her facial expressions. Now, just to be sure, let's discard the possibility that she didn't like Larry King, and we can do that just by looking at how she posed for the camera with him. You see? Absolutely normal, nothing that could make you feel uncomfortable, right? But Meghan definitely was feeling uncomfortable every time her co-star spoke.
It was the basic LA situation. I'd been auditioning for a long time, and then I got fired from a job a couple months before this script came through. And
Fired?
I am not going to put that in slow motion. I'm a man of principles. I'm going to give Meghan a free pass here because most probably she just had lettuce between her teeth from lunch at a salad bar. Yeah, you cannot unsee that now. But the next clip, if you need something to illustrate the term restless on the Cambridge dictionary, this could be the best way to do it.
Well, the tough part for this relationship is she's working so hard in the show to become a lawyer. And so, you know, while we're falling in love on the show, she's also got to wrestle with the fact that, you know, that I got into this job without doing half the work that she's going to have to do to get to where she's at. So that's a big part of the 3rd season.
I'd love to understand what is the trigger of those looks. What makes Meghan suddenly go into full if looks could kill mode and put that face like she's about to hit you in the face with a stapler? And there are many signals here that help you level up your body language skills. First, there's that deep breath that she's taking in to calm herself. That's why I've told you many times that you should take the time to spot breathing patterns on people so you can decipher them in real life. It's a great insight in emotions. Immediately after that, she tenses her jaw and has a blinking burst. That's a very easy to spot signal that someone is trying to contain a strong emotion. And in this case, in Meghan's case, it goes hand in hand with that deep breath that we just saw. Again, she turns away and you can see that the muscles of her jaw are tense. Yet another signal of a strong emotion, so we are stacking them with the same meaning, that she's really upset. And then she tries to force a smile and fails, just to completely drop it a split second later. Now, if she did not feel uncomfortable with Larry King, the other option is that she did not want to be sharing the interview with Adams. Because which other explanation could there be? I'd be glad if you shared your thoughts in the comments. Besides, it's interesting to see this dynamic between Meghan and Patrick. I haven't seen the show yet, but one of the recurrent topics about the cast is how much chemistry is there between them. And it makes sense, because if you're a casting director and pick the actor and actress to portray a fictional couple, you need that to work on screen. It has to look believable. Now, I've watched this interview a couple times, and I don't know if it's just me, but at least for this moment, I did not catch that chemistry that people talk about. And it could be that Meghan keeps looking nervous.
And the writers, directors let you ad-lib?
They do, which is, I mean, it's so great to have that sort of freedom.
Kind of strange, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's strange. It's just sort of, it's fun,
Well,
but
not a lot of
it's,
shows.
you know, it's a nice
I think
luxury.
there's an inherent trust that, like, when we're on set, we'll always do it the way that it's.
There's an interesting question. Why Meghan doesn't have this kind of displays with Harry? I mean, besides the engagement interview, we haven't seen such a flourished display of pacifying gestures and strange facial expressions. And one very simple explanation is that Meghan doesn't like to share the narrative. I understand that Patrick and her are good friends. I don't know if it's still so, but back in this interview, there were no reports of much struggle working together. So, it's safe to think that it's not the proximity or the presence of Patrick that upsets Meghan, but the fact that they have to take turns and in some way or another interconnect each other's remarks. King makes a question, one of them responds, the other replies to, and so forth. Basically, it's sharing the interview. What I guess is that Meghan's emotional displays happen because of that. In fact, the second part of the interview is about questions that they have to answer each one on their own, like, what was your first audition? And I thought that Meghan's emotional displays could change, but I was wrong.
My first audition. Oh wow, that's a great question. I think so. Yeah, it was for Sleepless in Seattle.
Really?
Well, some things just don't have an explanation, but I keep doing analysis to make sense of them. If you want to refine your observation skills, all you have to do is download my 100 battle language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas, and it will always be a pleasure, my battle language buddies. Much love and bliss.